Okay, everybody, this is Scotty with Sketchy's Garage, and we kind of got started on this GTX a little bit. We went around and grinded anywhere where we seen bubbles or the paint was bubbled up, where we assumed rust or something was at. We also do that to any area that we see that's got filler in it. That way, when we go to strip the car, we don't lose that area. So we automatically know we got a spot where we need to put some filler at. It just saves time in the process. A lot of times you'll get a little ripple or something that you won't see through the body working stages, but once you prime it and block it once, you'll see it. So we like to go in here and we'll take in, if we see a little spot like right here, we'll grind it out. That way we know that we need to put some filler there. That actually looks like it's a lead seam from the factory. We'll go ahead and melt that out all the way and then put new filler in it. Most of today's paints and primers don't jive very well with lead, and what'll happen, you'll paint it, it'll look great and awesome, and then the first time out in the sun or the first time it gets good and hot, you'll get little micro bubbles form right there and you'll be mad as can be. But today's video is about stripping a car. We do it several different ways. I'm gonna do it, show you a little way that's not really talked about a whole lot, and that's just taking a razor blade, regular old hardware razor blade, and just scraping the paint off. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes of course now it's hard. There we go. Once you get it going, it goes pretty good. It's just kind of getting it started. If you got a headache or something, don't feel like hearing the air compressor run or running a sander, this is generally a pretty good way to go about doing it. Once you find your rhythm, you can buzz through it pretty quick. Alright guys, we're just going to take our razor blade and we'll just get started on a section that's already been started a little bit, and then just run it out. A lot of times if the paint's good and hard, like this paint is really hard, but the primer itself is a little gooey and a little soft. If all of them was real hard, it would you could just run it off like this one big streak pretty easy. But the problem that I'm running into is this primer, it's pretty soft. It comes off really easy until I gouge into the primer and then it's hanging up. But that's pretty common. The 60s Ford and Dodge primers, I don't know what it was about them, but they're a pain. They're real gummy. They're a pain to sand off a lot of times. They can be a pain in the butt, and they don't even blast off the best either. They'll sit there and it just kind of seems like they move around. So always keep that in consideration, especially this right here. If we was to take and sandblast it and this comes off okay, but the primer, you fight it. If you keep the blaster on there too long, it's liable to warp the panel. So this, we're just going to strip it by hand and then sand the primer off. It'll take a little bit longer, but it'll keep us from warping the panel at all. Alright guys, that's enough for you guys to get the point. It's slow, it's tedious, but it doesn't make near the dust as sanding does, and near the noise. You won't be hearing an air compressor or a sander or whatnot going on. I'm going to show you guys why we're stripping it. A lot of you guys are probably looking at the paint and say, well, it don't look that bad. You can maybe sand it down and paint over top of it. What we got going on is, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but we got lots of little tiny micro bubbles coming through. And what it is it's actually starting to rust from the primer all the way up back and through. If we was to just take and sand it down and get it slicked out, probably within 6 months to a year, them bubbles would start showing up again. And nobody wants a slicked out GTX with a bunch of bubbles on it. So we're just going to strip it down and start over, start fresh. One other thing I want to talk to you guys about, just real quick. No matter the way you go about stripping your vehicle, make sure you wax and grease remover it off first. That's a step I hear a lot of people miss. They'll just get in and start stripping it. Let's say we just get into this right here and start stripping it and don't wax and grease remover it. Whatever means we go about taking the paint off, you're slowly going to work any wax or grease that was in it into the metal, and it's going to give you problems. So that's just it's good practice. This stuff's cheap. I don't really use wax and grease remover that much. I use alcohol, but to each their own. And just everybody have a good night. Hit the like button, and I'll catch you on the next one.